What's going on, guys? Well, out on the ZX6R today. God, I love riding this bike, and what I wanted to do for this video is a bit of a comparison for you. See, I have both the 636 and the GSXR 750 in the stable. And if you're watching this, you might be thinking, what's the difference? You might be comparing the two and you want to know what it's like to ride one versus the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 636 out, and we're going to talk about how it compares to the GSXR 750. And then I'm going to ride the GSXR 750 and give you some, while I'm riding it, impressions with that bike versus this one. So let's dive into it. First thing is the styling. The 636 is edgy, and it's appropriately styled because of how this bike is. It's a bit of foreshadowing as to the riding experience of this machine. Very quick to transition. Very snappy throttle response. Let's have a little fun with this thing and give you an example. Setting her up, dropping it in carousel. And I mean, this thing absolutely transitions so quickly. Love how this bike feels when you go to drop it in. Trail braking is awesome. Brake feel is so good with this machine. On the side of the tire. Oh, it's so good. Everything you could possibly love about a middleweight. And that's the ZX6 in a nutshell. Super snappy, lots of personality, incredibly plucky engine, very smooth going down the highway. But the 636 is a motorcycle that just eggs you on to have it on the side of the tire. And with that being said, I have to kind of come up with a confession here. See, this 636 is about as good of a 636 as you're going to find. It's got a two-wheel dyno works tune, two-wheel dyno works velocity stacks, full M4 Tech 1 carbon exhaust. She's a little ripper, boys. And a lot of that can be found to be what brings it up to par with the GSXR 750 in terms of power output. But if you don't have the outright power and you've got RPM, well, then you can have gearing, and gearing on this bike is very aggressive. We're humming along here, 85 miles an hour at 8,000 RPM. That's on up there, guys. But it's incredibly smooth. It feels very natural for this engine to be revving in that range. And is it ever responsive? Yeah, very responsive, even in top gear. But it's really on the side of the tire where this bike shines. Spool her up, drop her in, she finds the line so easily. You can absolutely pour the power to it coming through long sweepers, and it is so good about holding the line. But it wasn't like that stock. See, the ZX6 from the factory has got very soft suspension. These are the SFF front forks, which is single function. The left side is the spring, the right side is the hydraulics. And on this bike, the spring rate's just really soft. I've had to dial in quite a bit of preload to get this bike to the 34 front, 33 rear, I believe. No, I'm sorry, 35 front, 34 rear rider sag, with quite a few adjustments to through those hydraulics to get this thing to sit and work right. It's nearly outside of its adjustment parameter, but we do have it adjusted right, and it runs really well through the corners. But that's just another area where I've had to spend a ton of time with this bike. The GSXR 750, literally roll that thing out stock with no adjustments, and I feel right at home with it. So one more time, we're going to get her set up, get her on the side of the tire again. Go ahead and address the corner. On the brake, set her up, drop her in, maintenance throttle, power on, exit. On the brakes, grab a downshift, drop her in as we're trail braking to our favorite little stop signs. Hi guys. And this bike will do that all day long. Oh, it's so good. But it took some time to get here. It needed the engine modifications to get it to where it would not fall off once the tach hit about 13,000 RPM. But she's running good now, guys. Now, on that little bump right there, I was using the quick shifter. However, that is not the stock quick shifter sensor down there. I'm using an FT ECU sensor. And the reason for that is because it's not one of the spring-loaded types. It's a solid state sensor, and because of that, you get a solid shift shaft. And that does a couple of things. One, it makes the shifts much more precise feeling. The Kawasaki feels like it has a little bit longer shift throw. When I measured it, it is a little bit longer, not by much, but you know, this is a game of millimeters that we're playing here. And not having that spring-loaded sensor made everything so much more precise and so much easier, smoother. It also has a shift shaft stabilizer, which helps that along as well. But in doing all of that, it also has made this bike a lot easier to run through the gears without using the quick shifter. And the reason why that's important is because this bike's got a great clutch. The gearbox itself is incredibly buttery. Flip downshifts are so nice on this bike. And again, not pushing the pace at all, just setting her up a little bit on the sweeper, and it is so stable on the side of the tire. But so very different with how this bike goes about doing business than the 750. Because the 750 carries its weight lower than the 636. So even though the rake and the trail with the front forks is very similar between the two bikes, identical rake and only 2/10 of an inch separating it in trail, they do have different handling characteristics. Again, with the 636 just being quicker to tip in, but not necessarily better or more stable. It's just a little bit different feel. In terms of outright power, you gotta hand it to the GSXR 750. Even as good as this bike is, the 750, it's just a bigger engine. It's making more mid-range, more partial throttle power than the 636. But with that being said, I'm not sure that they're that far off on the far right of the tach. And as far as outright, you know, the overall technology suite, obviously the 636 has got the TFT screen and the quick shifter. It's an up-only quick shifter, which we owe that to the type of throttle body configuration that this bike and the GSXR 750 have. They have that twin throttle body type of a setup. But getting back to the quick shifter, you know, I was talking about that FT-ECU sensor. Set up as stock, the quick shifter, in my experience, has not been all that great with this bike, with the stock quick shifter. But this setup just changes all of that completely. So much more direct and so much better. And it makes, again, rolling through the gears with the clutch that much better. Just switches over so easily. Such a fun bike to ride, the 636 is. Definitely relying on gearing and RPM. I mean, it's got a lot of horsepower, not a lot of torque. It's a comfortable bike to ride too. The seating position is nice. But overall, this bike, as well set up as it is, this is what you have to do to a 636 to get it to run like a GSXR 750, and that's just kind of how it is, guys. But it doesn't take much to get there, and because the entry price on one of these bikes, as you see, this one is only $11,300, it makes it, well, it makes it a great package to get started with. So anyway, I'm going to go grab the GSXR 750. Let me know which bike you like the most so far. I gotta say, for me, it's whichever bike I just got off of, and I love riding the 6R. It is so plucky. It is so punchy. It's like a little terrier. It's always just on the edge, and I love it, and it's reflected in the styling as well. But anyway, if you made it this far, considering smashing that subscribe button, helps the channel out a ton. Next video, GSXR 750.